At the time, we're 4 games into preseason. We've seen a lot of action. It's small sample. We have seen quite a bit of action. So I do want to go through the entire Raptors roster and decide if their stock has gone up or it has gone down from preseason so far. And we're doing it with the help of a tier list I've created here. We've got all 21 players on the Raptors summer training camp, preseason, whatever you want to call it, roster. And it's pretty simple. Is their stock way up, stock down, stock way down, or are they neutral? So players who have met expectations, or perhaps players who just haven't played enough for me to give a firm ranking as far as their stock is concerned. So Chucky Hepburn comes in number 1. This isn't a random order, so we'll just kind of see how it goes from here. Chucky Hepburn is a player that comes up first. And for Chucky Hepburn, he's an interesting one because when the Raptors signed him in, like, right after the draft as an undrafted free agent, you know, I saw what they were looking for. They had a player who was Defensive Player of the Year in his conference, who had a lot of talent defensively. They wanted to see if they could maybe shape his offensive game a little bit more for the NBA level. And I was thoroughly impressed with him in Summer League. I've been moderately impressed with him in preseason. He was particularly impressive in that game against the Wizards. What it will come down to for the player is how well he can shoot the 3 ball in the NBA. And the defense and poise has been there. The offense still has a little bit of work and ways to go, but on a 2-way contract, I think he will improve with that. Stock has gone up. We'll see if he can really crack down at a regular NBA role at some point in his career, but stock has gone up for Chucky Hepburn. What we have learned at the very least is that he can hang at the pro level in some minutes. Maybe not every day, but he looks like he can hang, and he doesn't look out of place. Next up, Garrett Temple. We haven't really seen him, so neutral. I mean, what else would Garrett Temple be? Jakob Poeltl. I almost like, so obviously he hasn't played, so it has to be neutral, but I almost like want to even put him stock up because we've seen the deficiencies on defense when he's not there. Like, for the people who don't rate Jakob Poeltl correctly, I ask you to watch the games he doesn't play because you realize how much the Raptors miss him. But I won't go as far as that. I will put him in neutral, but just having been able to keep that in mind. Grady Dick, unfortunately, has to go in the stock down category. You know, I didn't enter preseason thinking that it was impossible for him to lose his rotation spot. It was always kind of in the back of my mind, like he could, and the defense would be a big reason why. But even his offense hasn't quite been up to snuff. And this is a player that, like, his defense is not. His defense is going to keep him off the floor. It's his offense that has to go above that to justify playing him. And the offense just hasn't quite been there in preseason. And again, this is a small sample for all these players, so take it for what it is. We're just going off this small preseason sample. But I don't really think you can look at Grady Dick any other way than his stock has kind of decreased here. And I think he should be fearful of losing his rotation spot if it doesn't pick up. David Roddy, we haven't seen enough of, so I got to put him in the neutral. Elijah Martin, my opinions of him have not changed. Mamukelashvili, very up and down from his performances in preseason, but I think overall I've learned enough about Mamu to say that there is more than just like, yes, he's a big, can shoot threes, and that's great, but there's a bit more there. He seems like somebody who's been pretty good at connecting the dots and playing a role with the team. I wasn't expecting that as much, so for me, his stock has gone up. Jamison Battle, I don't want to be unfair because he hasn't played a lot, but I was expecting him to really challenge Darko in trying to get into this Raptors rotation and try to, like, really force him into a tough decision on who Darko's going to play out the gates to start the season. But he hasn't put that pressure on. I think it's become relatively easy to say he won't be in rotation. So for that reason, I do have to put him in stock down. Just has not quite been the level I was hoping for in preseason. Olivier Sarr, I didn't really expect anything out of him. So the fact that he's been able to do something makes me say, okay, I can put him in the stock up category. Ochai Agbaji, he's been good. I expect him to be good. He's done his thing. I don't think he's gone stock up in my eyes. Jamal Shed, I don't want to put too many in neutral, so I'll be harsh here. And he hasn't wowed me, really. Like, not that I expected Jamal Shed to necessarily wow me, but I thought there would be some sort of progression offensively for him, and he'd be contributing in those areas a bit more. And from preseason so far, unfortunately, he just hasn't. So I actually do think I have to put him in the stock down category. I wish I didn't, but I was expecting more on offense, and we haven't gotten that. Jacoby Walter comes in. I think it might be the same. If he had kind of shown up a bit more, it would have been a lot easier to say he's going to be taking a bunch of Grady Dick's minutes this year. And Jacoby Walter started the last preseason game instead of Grady Dick, but yeah, it just hasn't been consistent enough or really good enough. So I think Jacoby Walter, and I was expecting quite a bit. Because of that, I do have to unfortunately say it's a bit of stock down. It's a bit of stock down for the player. Not way down, but it is a little bit down. Shopsy hasn't played, which is a shame. Colin Murray-Boyles comes in. So definitely stock up. Just how up? Am I going to go way up on Colin Murray-Boyles? I think I will. And part of the reason will be because I don't know if anybody else will go there. But I entered preseason thinking, will Murray-Boyles make rotation? Will he have to spend some time in the G League with the 905 to get up to this level? From preseason, he's looked like you got to have him in rotation because of how good he is. He's been so good defensively. He's been a great connecting piece on offense, and he's just showcased a good level of skill in scoring. I will. I'll say his stock has gone at the highest of anybody here for me. So I think for that reason, I will put him in the stock way up tier. Now, a lot of this is, based on my expectation for the players. If you were expecting a good chunk out of Grady Dick, it would stock down. If you weren't expecting much out of Jamal Shed, you would keep him neutral. But based on my expectations, I was expecting Murray-Boyles to struggle to adapt a little bit, and he hasn't struggled. So it's stock way up for me. Jared Rhoden, not really enough information. And now Scotty Barnes. So this is unfortunate again. I don't like to put players here, but I really thought Scotty Barnes would come in with a very refreshed. The attitude's not the right word, but it kind of is a refreshed attitude offensively. Because a big complaint for me last season, I've talked about it so much, is the settling for bad shots in mid-range, contested mid-range jumpers. Scotty Barnes is so difficult to stop when he is aggressive and gets to the rim a lot. And in only 2 preseason games, granted, he hasn't shown that sort of fire to do that. And as much as he's been great in other areas, I was expecting that. I was expecting him to be great defensively. I was expecting him to be great as a playmaker. That's all been great. But I still am a bit concerned by his demeanor on offense and his shot selection and shot sense and shot diet, whichever terminology you want to use. So I do have to unfortunately say I was really thinking he'd kick on, and he hasn't quite yet, which will force me to put him in the stock down tier. RJ Barrett has been pretty good in preseason. It's been good amount of points. It's been your classic inefficient RJ. It's been not so great defensively. RJ Barrett has played exactly like you think RJ Barrett would play in a Raptors uniform so far. He's scoring. He's hitting some open threes. He's not super efficient. That's RJ. That's what he does. He's neutral. His stock has not gone up or gone down for me. Jonathan Mobo. Another one where I just expected more. I expected his game to be more polished. I expected his finishing at the rim to be a lot more refined, and it isn't. He's still quite erratic. The people who draw comparisons to Precious Achiuwa are becoming more and more correct, I think. It's just been a bit difficult for Jonathan Mobo the game doesn't come easy for him. And it looks like that when you watch him play. He has to work for everything. It hasn't slowed down for him yet. Is he going to be the only player that goes stock way down? That's unfair. I wasn't expecting to crack rotation. He's done nothing to change that, but it's still like even less refined than I thought it would be. Yeah. Brandon Ingram, you know what? I think we'll have to put him. I already talked about him a lot on this stream today, but from a guy I was concerned how he would fit, how he would look after a lengthy injury in a new scene, new setting. He's been fantastic. He has been fantastic, and he's looked like the exact type of player that this team has been missing for a long time, and that's exactly what I wanted out of him. I was concerned we wouldn't get that, but we are getting it. I think we're getting the highest level of Brandon Ingram we could have realistically expected. And I think that puts his stock way up. And I think the NBA's sleeping. I think the league needs to be put on notice for Brandon Ingram ahead of the season. AJ Lawson, I'll put him neutral because there hasn't been enough play for him. I could even be harsh and put him stock down just because like he hasn't forced the hand of the team to play him more. But I think I'll put him neutral. And for Quickly, it hasn't been as good we would have wanted it, to be honest. He's adjusting, maybe coming back from the injury, but yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been overly impressed with his preseason so far, so my stock is a little bit down on him heading into the new season. I don't think anyone's stock has gone way down. Like, we don't have like a Freddie Gillespie type or anything like that, but I think for me, a fair few have underwhelmed from preseason and have given me a little bit of a different perspective for the upcoming season. So we'll have to leave it at that. What do you guys think?